I'd like to open the public hearing in accordance with RSA 198:20-C, roll number 2. A public hearing will be held by the Kentucky Valley Regional School Board for the purpose of expending funds from the Conval Building Capital Reserve Trust Fund. Mr. Grassi.
Thank you. Hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at the justification for the PES roof. Real quick overview. The gym roof at Peterborough Elementary School is approximately 25 years old. Although that's well within the life expectancy of a rubber membrane, we experienced a major failure in the seams over the winter time. In the process of getting that repaired, what we found is the rubber had degraded to a greater degree in sections of the roof. It's almost to the point, I'm using the wrong terminology, but it's to the point where it's lost its elasticity. With that said, we hired a roofing consultant engineering firm to assess it. And they came back with what we thought they were going to. It needs to be replaced. They did a code review, bid documentation for the roof, and we put it out to 3 different contractors. The 3 bids we got back were Melanson Company for $283,631, North Star Construction for $176,250, and Viking Roofers for $216,851.95. The recommendation that I'm bringing forward is that we go with North Star Construction for $176,250. I'd also like to add some contingency money in there, whereas the roof, where we did have a major leak and it's a wood deck underneath that roof membrane, I would like to ask for a request up to $200,000 if it's needed. Obviously, if it's not needed, then we would not use it. If it's approved, the construction would start as soon as school's out, and we hope to have it done by the middle of July.
Are there any questions from the public? Comments? Board members? Jim?
The current fund balance for the capital reserve fund is about $1.3 million. The combination of this and the engineering for this will take it down to just north of $1 million. And that work would be done next fiscal year. But it looks at this point, we are going to have money to add from the fund balance to add to the trust fund. So we're still in good shape with this. So we've got the money to do it.
Good.
Any other comments? We will keep the public hearing open until 7:30, and then at 7:30 we'll close it and take a vote from the board. And at this point, I would like to start our board meeting. If we could all stand for the pledge, please. Superintendent, points of pride.
Hello, good morning or evening. DCS students in grades 3 to 5 are working hard on the New Hampshire SAS testing to show all they know. Grade 3 students culminated their bird study with a birdhouse building protocol project coordinated by 4 community members. At FES, May is the month of literacy at FES. Students are working together to accumulate as many minutes of reading as possible. So far, they have read for 5,300 minutes. They're also making bookmarks, and they're going to hang those in the hallway. A mystery reader has come every Friday. The students get a clue every day to who the mystery reader will be, and this week, one clue was they like to help people, one was that they wear a lot of blue, and one is that they've seen them around town. I wonder who that is. So, Greenfield Elementary students across the grade levels have learned so much from Nico, an environmental educator from the Harris Center. Students have taken nature walks, they've learned about diverse animals such as bears, birds, and worms, and discovered signs of wildlife on their property. At GBS, the Great Brook School Band and Chorus had their concert on the 8th of May in front of their peers as well as the public that evening. Their efforts and practice paid off with a great performance. The GBS band also participated in the Great East Festival. This is an adjudicated event in which their performance earned them a silver rating. So congratulations. At CVHS, congratulations to Evan Kelly, Adeline Regis, to whom the Goethe Institute has awarded all expense-paid scholarships for an immersion study program in Karlsruhe, Germany. This prestigious opportunity is extended each year to 2 highly qualified Conval students enrolled in German 3 and recognizes their exceptional proficiency in the German language. Through their hard work and dedication, Kelly and Regis have distinguished themselves as the recipients of this year's scholarship. Keene Sentinel named their Athletes of the Year. 30 athletes were selected, and the following are the 5 students from Conval. Emma Rodenheiser, William Samard, Tasha McNeil, Kendrick Edwards, Sydney Burgess. Justin Burgess signed on May 9th with the Keene State for baseball. Junior Alliston Bolton and senior Jennifer Hopkins each had their short films chosen as screening selections at the 2024 New Hampshire High School Short Film Festival. During early May, 111 students completed 164 advanced placement exams in topics that included calculus BC, physics, chemistry, English literature, English language, psychology, U.S. history, world history, modern Spanish language, and German language. AP exams are college-level exams on specific subjects and are administered in May upon the completion of an AP course. At many colleges and universities, a high enough score actually earns them college credit. So well done. And in your packet tonight, we're going to be talking about our 4x100 relay team because they made the nationals. And those are our points of pride. Lots to be proud of.
I have an additional point of pride. Yesterday, my wife Wendy and Commander Thomas and his wife Dee and Ed Loy and Sarah Norby and Ed's music students from SMS placed 600 flags on the cemeteries in Peterborough, Upper and Lower St. Pat's, Old Street, Sand Hill, and Upper and Lower Sand Hill. It's sometimes very rewarding when things happen that you never anticipate. And at each cemetery, Ed would play taps at the end of the time we put the flags out. And we were at Upper Sand Hill, he was playing taps, and there was a couple at the very end of the cemetery who heard what was going on, and when taps were played, they stopped and put their hands over their hearts. And the kids got to see that, and it's an opportunity to share with them that there are moments in life where you can recognize those who've given the ultimate sacrifice by doing something as simple as standing quietly and putting your hand over your heart. And that example was shared with them there. I also shared with them an opportunity on the American Heritage Tour when we were in Washington, D.C. We were at a military post, and they had a show for the kids. And when they were bringing the flag down, they played taps. And all these 8th graders got to see these young kids on a playground immediately stop, get off their swings, get off the merry-go-round, and stop, look at the flag, and put their hands over their heart. So those lessons stay with kids for life. So that was such a great opportunity for these kids to see this. And it certainly is a point of pride that these kids were into this. And they put out over 600 flags, and I think they did it in less than 3 hours. So it's a real point of pride. So thank you for allowing me to share that. Approval of the manifest.
I certify that the manifest listed below totaling $2,251,599.78 have been reviewed by me and found to be proper charges against the Katukic Valley School District for goods and/or services received and have been properly processed prior to their submittal to the school board.
Got a motion?
I move that we approve the payment of the manifest.
Second? It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? All right, thank you. At this point in the agenda is for public comment. In accordance with RSA 189:74, we provide up to 30 minutes for public committee members to speak to the board. In order to allow for the greatest number of participants, each speaker shall be allowed 2 minutes to speak. The right to know law requires that we keep a record of our meeting, so each speaker should identify themselves for the record and state the town in which they reside. All speakers are to conduct themselves in civil manner. Obscenities, libelous, defamatory, or violent statements will be considered out of order and will not be tolerated. Citizens are requested to discuss ideas, opinions, policies, and positions, and to refrain from attacks upon any individual student, staff, or administrators when appropriate to protect the privacy of other students and family. Anyone in the audience is obligated to respect the fact that a speaker has the floor. Anyone disrupting the business of the meeting will be warned. The second disruption may result in them being escorted from the building. The chair may terminate speaker's privileges of address if the speaker does not follow these rules. This time is for public comment. The board's role is to listen, and the fact that the board does not respond during public comment should not be construed as either endorsement or disagreement with the public comment. The board also serves as the neutral body charged by law with affording due process to students, staff, and administrators. Hence, the board will not comment publicly on student or personal related matters. Is there anyone who would like to speak to the board? Yes, please. And there's a push the little in front, and there should be a little green light that comes on.
I think I got it. My name is Kelly Shirk. I'm a Greenfield resident. I grew up in Bennington, went through the district, graduated in 2007, and I played field hockey and softball for all 4 years while I was there. And so after the previous meeting where it was discussed of proposing a change to the athletic director position, I felt like I wanted to just kind of chime in on that just to get a feel for it, since it does kind of directly impact what I do as a field hockey and softball coach at the high school. And so I do really appreciate the idea and agree with ensuring that both the middle schools and the high school all have like one idea, one goal. I do really like that, and making sure that they're as equitable as possible for all the athletes. I just question, can one person do that fairly and evenly to the best of their ability for all 3 schools? When you look at it, there's, I think, if you go between the boys and girls sports, there's almost 45 teams total between all 3 schools. I wasn't sure if maybe having one high school AD and one middle school AD would be an opportunity, had been thought of, if potentially having an assistant or somebody, like, is it only one AD covering the whole thing? If it was compared to other schools, I know a few other schools that do that, but they do offer the same number of sports between all of their middle school and high schools that we do. Some I know would be D3 or D4 schools. They don't have the same number of opportunities as we do, being slightly larger. And so that's just kind of a concern. Like, can they, even if we take away the co-curriculars and stuff that they currently are doing in the position, can they still manage that? And how can they equally go from the high school, middle school? There's 5 potential locations in one day that will have a home competition. How can the AD then be present and show their support for their athletes if there's 5 places to be at once? And so I'm just curious what the plan is in that sense. If it does go through, how can we still have an AD that is there for the student athletes? Because if they're not in the school, how can they, communicate with their AD if they have a question or a problem, eligibility and stuff like that. That's so I just was throwing that out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I don't know if these could get put in the public record or how this works. I don't know. I'm used to.
Please share who you are and what town you're from, please.
I'm used to the CIP and select board process with putting things into the public record. So let me know what the process is for this, but hopefully made enough for everybody.
I got to speak in here? Okay.
Awesome.
Green button.
I just thank you for what you said. I love that. And I'm also here just presenting this memo regarding the proposed changes to the high school athletic director position. And I think you'll see some of the questions that were certainly echoed earlier, the concerns, but on page 2, and then the questions, they're too long to list in 2 minutes. So that's the content. But Kimberly's not going to be surprised, or no one else is going to be surprised by my primary issue, which is process. Like, we're technically, this group of parents is on the agenda on on the 4th to talk about this, but I don't know what the process is for parents to share, to talk about these questions and concerns before the decision is made. Are we allowed to talk in the midst of an agenda item? I don't know if we are or not. If we want to have something put on the agenda, who do we talk to and by how many hours? In Hancock, it just changed from 48 hours public notice to 24. The website's kind of confusing and the agenda is kind of embedded and a little bit hard to find. Finally poked around and I love the new design. It's just the agenda is sort of tucked within the link instead of separate. So these are all communication and process issues, and I don't know how as parents we sort of connect with all of you so that we can build a bridge and have good communication and conversation. And I hope that this memo, you have a chance to read it. We all spent time on it, but we want to have a conversation with you about these questions. We don't, this isn't like, here's what we've said, we don't want to hear from you. It's exactly the opposite. So given this structure, how do we build bridges for communication? And you guys can't say anything else, so there you go. Because in any other setting, I would ask, do you have questions for me? So do I have another 10 seconds or am I over reclaiming my time? Just kidding. Will they be assigned to a specific school? What is the plan when no game day coordinator is available? Are they full-time teachers? There are a lot of challenges about the already max hours in a day that's happening in Nashua and also in other schools, and they have many more FTEs. See you guys later on the 4th, where I hope we get to chat. Thanks so much for your work.
Okay, anyone else? Yes.
I'm Kristen Bernier from Hancock. Same subject, third time's a charm. I am here just because there is concern in the parent, student, and broader Conval community regarding the proposed changes to the AD position and what that means for athletics at our high school and the quality of the programs as the kids move up. I am here to respectfully ask, I participated in the drafting of the memo that you have in front of you now, and I'm just up here to respectfully ask you if you, to table voting on changes to this position until there can be some input from the community on this. And I feel like in the wake of the response from the community in losing our current athletic director, Kevin Proctor, I think that this would be a great opportunity to build partnership with the community with this board. We desperately do want to be in partnership with you. We don't want to be here talking to you just when we're ticked off. I understand this is a thankless job, and there are people in the community that want to participate more, and we recognize that we need to be more a part of this process. So I just ask you if you'd give us a hot minute to catch up to you and participate in June.
Is there any other? Yes?
No, that's okay.
Ladies first.
I don't really know what I want to say, but I'm gonna go up.
Okay. I'm Kate Taylor. I'm from Peterborough. I'll make it kind of quick. I feel like sports are undervalued in our community. I think that the culture that they bring and the togetherness that it brings all of us out to be together. I think that if there is anything that you guys are seemingly a little out of touch on, I think it would be that Kevin was a huge loss. No one said anything from the school board back to us about it, and I get that. Your hands are tied. But now the things that are supposedly happening in the school, like his disciplinary things that are coming down his pike and whatever, it just seems like a toxic culture around sports and not supporting them. I have friends that are trying to get a flyer push for football right now, and that seems impossible. And then I know she went to Kevin, and then he kind of got talked about it because I don't know if it doesn't align with, like, football doesn't align with, like, what's happening here. But I'm wondering, does anyone go to any of the sports games, or, do you have kids that play sports around here? Because if you did, I think you would realize that having one athletic director to do 3 different schools is insane. And I'm just going to say it like that. It's insane. My husband coaches lacrosse, and hopefully he doesn't lose his job over me saying that, but just rescheduling one game is a huge pain. It's bus, it's refs, it's balls, it's lining, it's everything. So if you're going to make that position one person, I don't know the support staff that you're going to have to hire to figure that out. And it's probably going to be a lot more money than your athletic director at the school and maybe one at the middle school for both. So I think that if you really think of the logistics and you're not just throwing darts here, that one position for an athletic director is not going to cut it. Okay, that's what I get.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. John Wood from Dublin. Previous school board requests, public comment. I have asked for the school board to consider a public forum on testing and explaining of test scores that our children just are completing. So it would be nice if somebody would come back with we are going to hold a public forum to educate the parents on what test scores mean, how they're tested, so on and so forth, so that we can be more educated from what our children are experiencing at the school. Number two, is same thing goes for the budget. The budget is very complex. There's a lot of terminology that goes into it. There's a question of discretionary versus non-discretionary spending, what things are mandated versus the state versus federal versus this is what we want because it's in our vision and mission statements. I think it goes a long way to answering a lot of concerns if you provide those educational outreach options for the population. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Thank you. I believe we have a teacher tonight.
That would be me. I'm Tamora McElravy. I am a one-on-one para at Temple Elementary School, and I'm also the vice president of the CVEA, and I'm here to celebrate the things that go on at Temple. Every Friday at our school, they all come together for what we call Flagpole Fridays. That's where we proudly raise the American flag, and one of our Temple residents, a proud Army veteran, joins us for this every single Friday. He comes dressed in his outfit, his uniform. He's there when they raise it. He's there for when we sing patriotic songs, and then he comes back at the end of the day, and he's there when the children bring and fold the flag, and he stands at salute every single Friday. It's amazing, and we love it, and it really is a truly special occasion, and it is one of those things that I think children will always remember. And I do know that I have some high schoolers that have told me that they remember putting the flag up and down every day too, because it's a fourth grade honor. Also, TES admin assistant Kimberly Sell has been organizing the annual Red Cross blood drive twice a year. This spring was our 21st blood drive. So far, we have collected 704 units and 685 total donors. That averages 34 units per drive. Just one donation, a unit, can save up to 3 lives. The average red blood cell transfusion is 3 pints, or 3 whole blood donations. And so we are very proud of that. TES has enjoyed a week with the New Hampshire's giant traveling map. This map is 6 feet by 20 feet. It was like as big as this floor in between here. It took up our whole library. Everything had to be pushed back. And the kids got to explore the map coordinates. They had scavenger hunts on it. They had skill building games. It was very educational, and the whole school got to use it because everyone has to with K1 and 3, 4. They all have something to do with maps and about the state of New Hampshire that they need to. Is the one that found it and got it on loan from the New Hampshire Historical Society. Kelly Bruns also had a visit from Discovery Education and received an award for being the top user of Discovery Educational digital resources for 2023-2024 school year. So congratulations to her. Let's see. Oh, we also had this Exploration, it's spelled with X instead of EX. Exploration is a very unique program. It's a STEM program, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. The instructor, Jeremy, comes and he's very engaging with the students, and it's a very hands-on, team-based, grounded in scientific exploration. The children were allowed to explore and better understand the fascination concepts of states of matter, including the mysterious, elusive plasma state. We've had him 3 times, and he's amazing. We've had wind vortex before, and then studying of the watersheds and landforms. So we have him come once a year. He's amazing. Tina Perrault, our first and second grade teacher, has organized a group called Community Reading Buddies. These are seniors from our community. They come every week to read or to be read to by the first and second grade students. A total of 7 seniors have donated 78 hours of their time, and that's only been since January. And they are very disappointed summer is coming because they love coming to the school and cannot wait for September to come. Let's see, one more. We had our first Blossom Ball dance. It was hosted by our parent-teacher team, and that was on May 10th. It was a huge success with pizza that was ordered ahead of time. And we want to thank Melissa Brockney for the incredible decorations and props used for the photo booth. And we love to thank Thomas Judd for providing us with the sound system, music, and a DJ. And we want to thank Cornucopia for providing all the fresh vegetables for snacking. And Mr. Melly, our art teacher, worked on the paper mache owls with the K through 4 children that were used in the Children of the Arts Festival parade. Let's see. And Jacqueline Nielsen, our music teacher, is doing a great job with the 4th graders. They will be performing several songs on their recorders for the end of the year celebration. Oh, joy. So that's all I got.
Thank you so much.
Oh, and I want to say congratulations to Dr. Kimberly Rizzo Saunders. I have totally enjoyed working for you and with you, and I wish you the best.
Thanks, Annie.
Yeah. A student rep, but just for a moment, Lucy.
So we have a student rep every year that serves the board and works with the SAU and her high school principal. It's not always a her. And so we always end the year by giving a gift to this person. And for those of you who don't know, Lucy will be at Stonehill next year.
Now, I know you'll be with us next board meeting, Lucy, but in case something comes up, we want to make sure that you had that with you. You need to keep warm, you know. Okay, Luce.
So last week, chorus and band went to Great East, and they both got gold medals for their performance. And tonight is the German and Spanish National Honor Society induction, so that's where students are right now, being inducted into those honor societies. On Saturday was prom, and that was a really fun night for juniors and seniors. And on Saturday was Children in the Arts, where a cappella performed, marching band, rock band 301, and then 2D studio art students made artwork to share with the community. And then next Friday is spring fling and mud volleyball, so it'll be a super fun day at the high school for everyone's like last day of classes for seniors. And then on this Thursday, Student Council is doing a service learning trip to the seacoast where we're going to be picking up trash along the coast and then spending time by the ocean in the afternoon. And then softball is having a great season, and they potentially have a playoff game next week, so that will be at the high school. And then next Wednesday is the Pops concert from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the high school.
Thank you, Lucy. So for both Lucy and our teacher rep, the board understands that if you want to leave because you go to school, you go to work, please feel free to do that. And we understand why you might get up and leave. So feel free to do that. That's kind of it's okay to do it. Feasibility study, Mike?
The feasibility committee will be meeting this Thursday. We meet the second and fourth Thursday of every month. And this week we will be going through reviewing the process that hopefully we'll be going through for this entire study, and also starting to look at some of the financial information around that. So, thank you.
Any questions from board members? Budget and property, Jim.
Says Alan's supposed to do it.
That was just to fake you out.
I know, I caught it. So we talked about two things of interest. One is the end of the fiscal year 24 is starting to come into focus, and at the end of the year, with money that's left over, the so-called fund balance, we have some decisions to make in terms of how much goes to the trust funds, and it looks like we might have enough to fund the 1.2 million that the voters approved. The balance of that goes to either the taxpayers' return or we can retain some. So those numbers is not ready for publication yet. They're still very, very preliminary, but we'll be talking about those in the next month or so. The other thing we talked about, and I want to make sure everybody's aware of this, we are moving forward right now with planning on the CTE high school renovation for a bond project. So the next event, and I want board members, if you want to participate in the next meeting, we'll have a meeting sometime in June with the ad hoc committee. It's not a formal board committee, but an ad hoc committee that has 3 of us participating on it right now. If you want to join, let me know, and we'll make sure you get the invite. And we'll have at that meeting, we're going to have the architect come in. They've got expertise not only in conceptual design, which is the work they've done, but they've also got expertise in the publication, the publicity, the whole process of getting the public involved and understanding what's going on with the project, the funding of it, and everything. So if you're interested, let me know, and we'll make sure. There has to be a limit, though, how many board members attend the meeting, because if we get too many, it's a quorum. We can't have the meeting as it's an ad hoc committee.
Right.
So that's all I had to say.
Well, we can have the meeting, you just
We
have
can
to
have a
post
meeting,
it.
we just need to post it.
Thank you, Jim. 30 minutes have passed. We're going to close the public hearing. If I could have a motion from the board to authorize the expenditure of the funds. Sure.
I move that we approve the expenditure of not to exceed, we approve
Thousand.
not to exceed $200,000 for the high school, excuse me, Peterborough Elementary School gymnasium roof.
I have a second. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions from board? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions. Okay, thank you. Consent agenda. Any questions from the board on consent agenda? Yes, Doc.
Can I request that the personnel be removed from the consent agenda until after we go into non-public at the end of this meeting? Thank you.
Any other questions on the consent agenda? We'll hold the personnel to the end of the meeting. We'll go to non-public. Thank you. Superintendent's report.
Sure. So that's all I have.
Any board members have any changes on their subcommittee meetings? Okay, thank you. Feasibility study. Anything there?
I don't, unless Mike has something for the feasibility study, I don't have anything.
Okay. Strategic planning and goals.
So, we had proposed a couple of meetings ago, we shared with you that if you want, based on the fact the feasibility study and some of the other challenges that will be facing the district over the next 4 or 5 months, you may want to consider putting the strategic plan and the 3-year goals on hold. So, we're certainly looking to you for direction for that.
So, board members, suggestions, thoughts?
I
Jim?
think the feasibility study, combined with the fact that we'll have a new superintendent on board to be implementing these goals and objectives, probably makes it wise to push this out, as Dr. Saunders has suggested.
Other board members? Looks to me like there's agreement. So, if the board's in favor of that, we will extend it out.
Would ask for the administration's sake that you actually make a motion so that it's official.
How far do you want us to go? A year?
At least a year, yeah.
Okay. Could I have a motion to follow Jim's suggestion for a year out?
Move to push off pursuing the strategic planning and goals for a period of 1 year.
Can I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Alignment of athletics in high school and middle school. Superintendent.
So that was the proposal that Rick and Tim and Adam brought last meeting, so.
Jim?
The plan was to vote on it tonight?
Say again?
The plan was to vote on it tonight?
Yes, that is correct.
I move that we defer the vote on the motion, on the suggestion of combined athletic director until we have a new athletic director. The new athletic director can review and comment on it, and we can get more public participation. I don't see any reason to vote on it tonight.
Right. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions from board members? I don't see any. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. Abstentions. Okay, we'll extend it out. Field trip proposal.
So there's a field trip proposal for our students to go to Austria in 2025 from April 23rd to May 3rd.
Could I have a motion to approve this field trip?
I move that we approve this field trip during April break next year to Salzburg.
Could I have a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions?
No, this is they fundraise.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions. Have fun. Expenditure and encumbrance report.
You'll see in your packet an updated expense and encumbrance report from April. You'll see the negative numbers are slowly going away as we're moving funds around, although some of them are are skewed in the sense that I have to take little pieces of other areas to fulfill some of those. So we may have to have a discussion at some point whether you want to leave some of these negative at the end of the year, or I mean, the bottom line is still going to be the same regardless. But it's up to you how you want me to handle it, because there might be a budget transfer that might be about 5 or 6 pages long. That may be the next one I bring to you. So depends how you want to do that.
Jim?
I move that we approve the expense encumbrance report and all encumbrances included therein.
Can I have a second? It's been moved and second. Any questions from board members? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Abstentions. Thank you. Elementary school staffing. Give us the numbers as we look across the district and the coming school year. The concerns that were brought forward are staffing in third grade and first grade. So, Superintendent, what are those ratios look like at PES and other elementary schools throughout the district, please?
So in grade 1 at AES, there are 2 teachers and class sizes would be 11.5. At Pierce, there are 6 students, 1 teacher, so that's 6. At DCS, first grade has 9. They are actually going to do a not a K1, I'm sorry, a 1-2, so that would be 14. At FES, there are 8, but they are doing a K1. At GES, they are 13. At HES, they are 13. At PES, they are 17. At TES, there's a combined 1-2, and that is 14. At third grade at AES, there are 14. BES 17, DCS 14, a combined 3-4 at FES for 19, a grade 3 at GES is 12, HES is a combined 3-4 at 21, grade 3 has, at PES has it averaging 21, and TES has a grade 3-4 combination for 13. 21 is third grade at PES, and the combined 3-4 at HES.
So the concern brought forward, should we add additional staffing, particularly in the third grade at PES? Concerns from board members? Dan?
I would include HES in that discussion too. They have 21 in a combined 3-4.
Superintendent, and then I'll get back.
Obviously this is the board's prerogative, but I need to be clear that we did not carry the extra teacher this year. We are running a lean, tight budget, and going into the year, adding 2 positions out of the gate, knowing that our special ed costs continue to rise, is a gamble.
Yeah, I mean, it's, we see that the class size is highest for Peterborough Elementary across the board, it seems to me. So the fact that we're shrinking a class in grade 3 to create 2 classrooms instead of 3, I think that's a mistake. We are already maxing out our class sizes compared within the district. So as a matter of equity, I think it's the right thing to do to have the 3 classrooms for grade 3.
Janine?
So the 3-4, I know that Jessica shared that information with parents recently, and so that indicates to me that she was comfortable with that combination. I would need to touch base with Larry on the grade 3. These were this was information we had. Enrollment, as you know, we are in May, so enrollment's starting to slow down, but enrollment around this time of year is a moving target. I don't know if you want to wait another meeting to see where it is, but enrollment is a moving target at this point of the year.
Will it be less of a moving target by the next meeting?
Usually what we are more solid on particularly is our kindergarten numbers, but also parents who are moving students around. Particularly parents that are moving in and then asking, like we just had a parent move into the district who's asking for their child to go elsewhere.
Okay.
Jim?
Is there a dedicated aide in that large grade 3 class? Either of those large grade 3 classes?
Not dedicated to the class. There may be one-on-one paras in those classrooms. I do not believe at this point there is one at HES.
This may be another way to skin that cat rather than an entire new full price teacher.
That would be a conversation to have with that I can have with the principals.
My concern, whenever we wait, is the opportunity of having a teacher to fill that position, particularly if we have to move somebody out of the school to fill the position because they've been transferred. So my personal bias here is I think we should add the additional teacher to PES. I understand that funding may be an issue, but I also know that we're trying to address the special ed needs with fundings that we have available. I do believe that this might have been a classroom with some challenges. I think that being equitable, as Tom had mentioned, is a prime concern that I have. I can't bring a motion forward, but the chair would entertain a motion to bring back the additional teacher at PES. Mike?
I think it's very difficult just looking at numbers because depending on the makeup of the classroom and the students in the classroom, I mean, you could have a classroom of 10 that's 10 times harder to teach than a classroom of 19.
Yeah.
So, trying to make those decisions just sitting here looking at numbers is really difficult.
Yeah, I think what I tried to share with you is there is a concern that having the lower numbers would be beneficial to this group of students.
Yeah, and if that's true, I would favor putting in the other teacher back also.
Janine?
I was going to make a motion.
Dan?
Or at least leave this up to the principal based on Mike's different platforms.
I sort of endorse Dan as well.
It can always come back with another motion if you want to have them look into it, but do I have a motion to add a teacher to the third grade at PES? Yes or no? Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second? Moved and seconded. Okay. We'll vote on,
Yeah.
yep, and Janine, you seconded. So we'll vote on this, and then we can come back to other concerns. Tom?
Now, I understand Dan's concern about the large class size of the combined class. I just see across the board, all of the largest class size for every grade is in PES. So if we're going to, I know we're constrained by our budget, I would think PES should get first crack at an additional teacher, not opposed to an additional teacher at Hancock at all. But if looking at the overall numbers, and Mike makes a good point about the classroom, but you could do that with every single classroom. You could say this classroom, has we can't micromanage to that point where we look at every individual class and determine if this one can be extra large, this one can be extra small, has to be extra small. We have to have some removal from that precision, in my opinion. And have some equity in terms of overall class sizes.
Any other questions, Janine? Any other, Dan?
Looking at third grade, we're looking at third grade. And I support PES based on Fund 1. But I also feel that we have to have some equity in the district class size.
Superintendent?
So I'm getting,
Okay. Any other questions on adding?
I have a question.
Yes.
So are we looking at making this a class size of 7, or would we be adding a combined third fourth PES to take numbers out of both those grades?
I believe if you had 3 classrooms, the
14.
14. There'd be 3 classrooms that would, of 14. Does that answer it, Aaron? Is that Aaron?
that's Aaron.
Yeah. Does that answer your question, Aaron?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
I just want to point out that
Tom?
I find it interesting that we're trying to close schools based on classroom sizes, and we turn around and go against our numbers that we have set to bring in teachers. So we're trying to make smaller classrooms. I just want to point that out. Seems inconsistent.
I think the discussion was making equitable classrooms, not smaller classrooms. Jim, did you have a question?
Before this teacher at PES left, was there 3 teachers in the budget for next year?
No, these teachers were not in the budget.
Any other questions? Doc?
I have a question, but I will make a comment in regards to the last comment that was made that one might find that ironic, but I've been in this district. My kids went through PES, and these numbers, ratios have not changed in the 20 years I've been here. So PES has traditionally had much higher classrooms than every other town.
All right, I'm going to call for a vote.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure?
I just want to remind people that both the middle school and the high school lost positions this year to make sure that we could continue doing this. The high school lost 5.5 positions to make sure we came in the budget we came in. So once again, and you know, you are bleeding the high school and middle schools dry. And we're trying to make every adjustment to everything that we can, the middle school and high school. And you're adding teachers within the elementary, and you're exacerbating the problem.
Tom?
Well, I think when a class size is 21 and you have a significant issue or concerns within that class, that's too large. That's, in my opinion. I mean, and just because we are missing money somewhere else, that doesn't mean this isn't a problem that needs to be solved.
Janine?
So to these teachers, who is asking for this extra place? We're asking for it because of the low numbers?
So what do these teachers say about 21 kids in the classroom? And again, I ask about the class composition.
We're asking because it was brought forward by parents. concerned about the class sizes.
For what reason? I mean, were there valid concerns?
For the ones that I think have been voiced here, were the concerns, yeah. We'll call for a vote. Tom?
I've heard some concerns about the equity in terms of the load for the teachers, frankly, from Peterborough Elementary School teachers.
We'll call for the question. All those in favor of adding a third grade teacher to PES, please indicate by raising your hand. Put them up high, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Opposed? 1, 2, 3.
My hand is raised.
Okay, 4. Abstentions? All right, looks like we add the teacher count on the vote.
Got it.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to add a third grade teacher to HES.
Do I hear a second?
I can't second you, I'm sorry, Dan.
I'll second for point of discussion.
Been seconded for point of discussion. Superintendent?
Again, it's a combined K1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a K1 combination, not a 3, 4 combination. Just so. The third grade is in 21. The combined, but there's not going to, their principal made the decision to change that. It's going to be a K1, not a 3, 4. Right. So there'll be a straight 3 and a straight 4 at Hancock next year.
Solve for you, Dan.
I withdraw my second.
Before we go to end of the year days for staffing, I'm going to call for a non-public. Could I have a motion? Non-public, thank you. Jim?
Yeah, as a track and field and cross-country guy, I can tell you that going to outdoor nationals is a real honor. It's a very select group of athletes that gets to go there, and that's a tremendous time for 4x1. And, anything we can do within the budget to come up with that dollars I think is well earned.
Jim?
I move that we approve the expenditure of up to $9,500 to cover the expenses of the trip. And I'm going to suggest that once we approve it, that we request a public hearing to expend funds from the athletic trust fund. We have plenty of money in the trust
I know,
fund.
but we might not have time. to make all that happen?
No, but we can approve we can approve till we could post afterwards, yeah, move it, yeah, okay, so, that's,
So.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Dan?
I think before they go, they should first have to beat the reigning relay champion of myself, Heather, and Nick Hill before they go anywhere.
Are you really?
I think we're gonna move the money right along, Dan.
Said put a number on and they'll have to race us.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Abstentions. All right, thank you. Public comment.
So this is John Wood, Dublin. I know I spoke earlier, but that was on a different subject. I find it interesting that this school board, not less than 6 months ago, sat in this room and listened to Prismatic present reports of small class sizes. And although I am personally opposed to closing elementary schools, this vote of this board was 10-2 to do such a thing and put it on the warrant. I highly recommend you look at 4-2 of the Prismatic report that you just voted to approve putting another third grade teacher in PES for effectively 20 students, which, by the way, the report that you approved from Prismatic says that's a normal class size. You also complained about the small class sizes in DCS and FES and TES and HES. It could easily have asked a student from PES, would you like to go to DCS and not hire another teacher? This board spends money like I drink water. And as a taxpayer, I'm okay with it, but you can't be a hypocrite. And that's what I just saw. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the board? Okay. I don't believe we have any non-publics now at this point.
No, we do. Yes.
We do have a non-public. Okay. All right, I have a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2. Dick?
Mike, Curtis,
Eric.
Dan.
Jim,